Hello traders, happy weekend and welcome back. My name is Sabright, also known as Viva Chief. Now listen to this. If you are serious about becoming consistently profitable in forex trading, then our weekly forex market outlook is something you simply can't afford to miss. Now, before we dive into today's analysis, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on your notification so that you never miss any of our valuable insights and updates. Okay, in this particular analysis, I'm going to take you step by step on how to use supply and demand strategy, top-down analysis to spot profitable trade setup in the market. So on the screen is DXY. As you all know, always start with DXY. DXY, if you look at the charts, let me start from the daily time frame. On the daily time frame last week, you can remember we spotted this shift in market structure and then this demand zone which price has traded into and is still holding strong. Okay, so right now on the daily time frame, we'll have this supply zone up here that market is here to mitigate, and we'll also have this demand zone down here where price has not yet mitigated as well. Okay, so those are the two zones closer to the market here that you can be looking out for in the days ahead. So next week, we're looking forward to see if price can trade into either this zone, then we'll look for a buy. Or if price should push back to this supply zone, then I will be looking forward a sell. Now, also remember that within the week, market can also create new zones. Okay, so what you simply need to do is to look out for new opportunities during the week should in case market creates new opportunity. But right now on the daily time frame, these are the only two zones I'm looking at. Now let's head to the 4 hours time frame and see what we have there. On the 4 hours time frame, if you look at the chart here, this was the last zone we called last week, okay, which came out very profitable. So right now on the 4 hours time frame, what I'm looking at for is one, just as you said on the daily time frame, if price should pull back to this supply zone here, are we looking forward to sell? But then before you sell, what you simply need to do is to use confirmation method. Do you know why? This particular sell now was as a result of news event. So even before you sell from this zone, use confirmation method. Okay, the same thing as this market is right here now. This is a demand zone, but the zone has been tested before. This is the second time. So I'm not going to trade from this zone unless I see a confirmation that the price will go back up. And how do I confirm that? I will look out for this by next week. If market should push back up, possible return back, then I see a fractal shift in market structure. Okay, I see a fractal shift in market structure here. Once I see a fractal shift in market structure here, in that case, I will look for any newly created demand zone that led to that to long from. Okay, that is the only time I'm going to buy DXY on 4 hours time frame. All right, if I see a fractal market structure shift here on 1 hour time frame or even while on 4 hours time frame, just as it happened here. Okay, remember right here previously, what happened here was that price traded into this demand zone, push up, push down, and then we had this what fractal shift in market structure, and then market created this new demand zone. That was how we entered our long position last time. So right here also, I'll be looking forward to see the same thing here before I take any long. All right, and also if price should trade back into this supply zone here, I'm not just going to short blindly. I will also use the same method by waiting for what to see a fractal shift in market structure. Once I see that, then any new supply zone created there will become my what, my short position. Okay, that will become my short position. All right, so that is simply the step I take when I want to use confirmation method for my entry. All right. So having said that on DXY, let's go over to the next pair, which is EURUSD. Starting from the daily time frame, you can see that EURUSD right now is turning back bullish. Okay, even though price is still within this supply zone. Yeah, price still within that supply zone, but then that zone was tested the first time where we took our last trade from, and now it's tested the second time again. So I don't look forward to trade from that zone unless also on lower time frame I see confirmation before I trade from that zone. But right now, let's look at other zones on the daily time frame we can also take trade from should in case opportunity comes up. Now this is one of such. All right, this is a demand zone here. You can see this strong move engulfing candle here, creating this zone here. This is a zone that if market should pull back in here by next week, I'll drop down to lower time frame, look for confirmation, and then I'm going to do what's long. Okay, that's what I'll be looking out for on the daily time frame. If price should trade back into this demand zone, I will wait for confirmation on the lower time frame. If I see confirmation, then I will long. If I long, we'll have this supply zone up here to target. Okay, and the reason why I should target that zone because of what? If you look at here, we have this trend line here, of which there are so much liquidity lying above that highs. These are trend line liquidity. Okay, so I look forward that the price should take out, give me a fractal shift in market structure. Yeah, I'm going to long Euro USD to target that high. Then also we'll have a demand zone down here. So in any case, if price should violate this zone and return back here, at that point I'm going to take my long position. Okay, so that's all I'm looking at for in Euro USD on the daily time frame. Now on the 4 hours time, if you can see, this was the trade we took on Friday. Okay, this was the trade we took on Friday. This was a very nice trade, I must tell you. On Friday, remember I pointed out this demand zone during our last weekly Forex market outlook. We can go back and watch the video. I pointed out this demand zone during our last market outlook, including this one down here. And as you can see on Friday, as price went into that demand zone with our pending order, you see what really happened. Though we didn't go the trade all the way up there, we took our profit around 1 to 6, somewhere around here or so. That was where I closed the trade because that was a news event. Sometimes on Friday, after a news event like that, a market push high, you see that towards the evening, price will begin to drop again. So because of that, immediately we hit about 1 to 6 rewards ratio on that Friday. I had to close the trade. Okay. So on Euro USD right now, if you look at the chart very well, we have a new demand zone created here. We are going to take this one out, refine it back to this newly created demand zone. So have a new demand zone here. So by next week, this demand zone becomes valid. If price should pull back down to this zone, we can take a long. Then if we want to use a confirmation method, then we'll have to wait to see a fractal shift in market structure. Then any newly created demand zone will become our long. Okay, so that's what to look out for in Euro USD. Now, if you also want to short this particular one, because of if you look at this was the zone I told you last time that you can further refine this zone. You can further refine that zone. Okay, now if you refine that zone, you can see that market is still here to mitigate that zone from where this momentum started. Okay, so that particular zone now is still very much valid. So right there, if market should trade back into that zone, let's assume market push back up to that zone. Whatever happens, if we want to trade, then use the same confirmation method to short. Okay, the same thing too. If you want to long, use confirmation method to long, any of the two. So I'm looking out for here or here on Euro USD in the coming weeks. Now I'm heading to the next pair, which is GBPUSD. Now on GBPUSD, starting from the weekly time frame, you can see that on the weekly time frame here, this weekly demand zone is really holding price here. You can see that. So therefore, after price traded into this demand zone on weekly time frame, you see price pushing back upward. All right. Okay. So now let's draw down to the daily time frame and see what is going on there. On the daily time frame, You can also see that after this fractal market structure shift, market push back up to this supply zone, which we mark in our last market outlook. Then price dropping back down again, which I told you that as a result of this demand zone, I'm not going to short GBPUSD on the daily time frame. I said it during our last episode. All right. So you can see that news event, what happened was the price pushed back to this demand zone with a little liquidation, then going back up, and this is where the price is now. So right now, what I'm looking at for on this particular pair is one. If price can on lower time frame pull back here, then I can also look for long because we have this supply zone up here to target. Okay. Then also we have this demand zone down here as well. It's very much fresh. So any drop down to this particular demand zone is opportunity also to do what? Buy. Then this supply zone also, if price should push up to that zone, is opportunity to sell. Okay, now let's go down to the 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame here, now this was a trade we took as well, just like Euro USD, but this one market liquidated us. We took 1% loss here. Okay, we are always transparent in whatever we do here on this channel so that people will be able to understand how this thing works. Okay, sometimes you trade, you win and you lose, whichever comes. Okay, but always ensure that your winning are more than what your losses. All right, like a few days ago we took 1% loss, but we made over about 5% win. Then yesterday, Friday, you can see our 1:6 risk reward ratio we made on Euro USD. Then now on GBP USD, we took 1% loss. So that is how this market goes. Okay, you not always win every time. As I always say, consider your losses as your business expenses. All right, consider it as your business expenses. Okay, and then with your profit, you smile to the bank and know what to do with your money. All right, let's kick start. You can see we took a loss here. Market liquidated this zone and then push back up. So right now, what I'm looking at for is by next week, if price can drop back, just as I said on the higher time frame, to this newly created zone, then I'll be looking for a what? A long. Then if any reason price also liquidate this particular zone and drop down, we also have another zone here where we can buy from. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at for. A drop down to this place and then a possible continuation, just as I said on the higher time frame. So we have these two zones, this one and this one, and also possibly this one as well. All these zones are good demand zone to trade from. In terms of supply on the 4 hours time frame on GBPUSD, you can see on this particular supply, which we talked about last time, you can further refine it to here. Now look at this. If you look at this very, you can see this was where the momentum actually started, and we still have this fair value gap here. Okay, see that fair value gap that is not yet filled. So this supply zone here is still fresh. So there's a possibility that by next week price can drop down to this zone and then kick up again to fully mitigate that supply zone. So whatever happens, you watch out. Okay, a long here, a short here. Now if price should choose to come down from this zone, I wouldn't advise you take the trade. Okay, rather be patient, wait for the price to come down here before you long. If this one should fail, wait for it here. All right, so that's all about GBPUSD. Now let's head to the next pair, which is USDJPY. Now on USDJPY, going to the weekly time frame here. On the weekly time frame, you remember we still have this demand zone here. Stay fresh. Okay, price is here to return back to this demand zone. Meanwhile, this supply zone has already been mitigated, and that's what is pushing the price down. Okay, so go down to the daily time frame to see what is going on there. Right here on the daily time frame, you can see that this demand zone also is holding very strong. Okay, and also you can see markets creating all this liquidity down here. These are liquidity. Okay, and we'll have this valid demand zone down here to trade from. A price should come back down. Okay, so what I'm looking at for this particular pair USDJPY. I only have this supply zone here to look for trade, and also this demand zone, or possibly if price can create a new zone within the week, then I can look forward to trade from there. But on this time frame right now, I don't see anything to do here. So let's go down to 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame here, you can see, just as I said last week, that I was waiting to see if price would take out this high, and then any demand zone created here, I will take trade from it, or this particular demand zone here. So during the week, what happened is that after price take out this supply zone, I didn't see any strong demand zone here to trade in, because I also look at this. We have these lows here, which will also serve as sell side liquidity. Now I had to put my pending order here. So right now I'm already on this trade on USD JPY. I'm already longing USDJPY from this particular demand zone, this fresh demand zone here, which I pointed out in our last Forex market outlook. So in case you've not entered, what you simply do is that within the week, wait for a fractal shift in market structure. If you see any fractal shift in market structure, then you can then long and target this newly created supply up here within the week. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at for on the USDJPY. Either you wait for a fractal shift in market structure here, then you join the trend, or you patiently wait for price to trade back to this supply zone, then you also use confirmation method to do what? To enter, to short. Okay. Now, what if this zone should fail? What are we going to do? If that zone should fail, then remember, I've always been pointing out this zone. We'll have this zone here to target. Okay. And also have another one down here. Also, what if this particular newly created zone should fail? We'll have this other zone up here. So that is all about USDJPY. All right. Now let's move to the next pair, which is the gold. Let's start from the weekly time frame and see what is going on there. Gold on the weekly time frame, I don't really see anything much here. Still normal chart pattern being formed here. Okay. So what we'll simply do here is to go down to daily time frame. On the daily time frame here, what we have here also is a demand zone that I called during our last meeting. Okay, I called this demand zone, which I told you guys I will be targeting the high if price should trade back into this demand zone. So as you can see, we're already on this trade. All right, we're already on this trade on the daily time frame. Now you can ask me, what will you do in order to join the ride? On daily time frame here, there's nothing I think you can do right now. Rather, we'll drop down to 4 hours time frame and look for intermediate zones that you can trade from. On the 4 hours time frame, we took a long here. If you look at this particular zone here, after price gave us this fractal shift in market structure here, you can see this newly created demand zone very strong. All right, so we took the trade here. We had the trade push up there. I was hoping to see if we can get to that zone, but on Friday, see price pulled back down very close to our stop loss. Very close to our stop loss, you can see here. But then, fortunately, the news event drastically pushed the market back up, and it was supposed to be a 1 to 10 trade. So, if you want to have access to trade like this, that we normally call within the week or during the days, what you simply need to do is to join our Viva Trading Inner Circle. Right there, we'll drop every of our signal. There are some signal that we will not be able to spot in the weekly market outlook, but on daily basis, if we spot any new opportunity to trade from, we always drop those opportunities in our inner circle. So if you want to join us, you chat us. All right. So what are the setup to look out for on gold in the coming days? Now the setup you should be looking at for right now is, if you look at gold here, let me take this out. We have this newly created demand zone here. Get rid of this. We have this newly created demand zone on 4 hours time frame. So if market should trade back down to this newly created demand zone, that would be an opportunity for us to do what? long gold once again. So I want to see this possibly a drop down to this zone, then we look for what? We look for a long. Now, if you don't want to take an aggressive entry, then you use confirmation method by waiting for price to give you a fractal market structure shift. Then any newly created demand zone, you long and target that supply zone here that is still fresh. Okay, that supply zone there is yet to be what? Mitigated. But also from here, if you want to short, I would advise you also wait for a fractal market structure shift to the downside. Then you can take your shot from there, targeting this demand zone as well. Now, what if this zone should fail? We also have this demand zone down here where you can also trade from. All right. Then also we'll have a supply zone up there as well. Should in case this one fail, we'll have a supply zone up there as well where we can also take a shot from. Okay, so that is all for today, guys. Do have a wonderful week ahead. If you have not subscribed to our channel, subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you not miss any of our valuable insights and content. Follow us on all our social media handles and Beaver Trading. If you want to join our Beaver Trading inner circle, then use our contacts right in our bio and then get in touch with us.